Hey friends, welcome back. It's Melanie with Melanie Stamps, and today we are playing with the adorable Dancing for Christmas collection. So let's get into it. We have 4 adorable dancing characters in this collection, and I'm only playing with 3 of the characters today, but I did not want to leave out Mr. Penguin. So I have put together Mr. Penguin here. I've die cut all the pieces and I've made him a little sweater out of pattern paper. He's got his little ice skates. He has a cute little hat, also made with the same pattern paper, and it's kind of like a Santa hat. And I just wanted to show him real quick on screen so that you guys did not miss out on Dancin' Penguin. So this one here is Dancin' Fig and Pudding. Then we have Dancin' Gingerbread, which has the boy and the girl. And then the first thing we're going to play with is Dancin' and Giftin' Mouse, which if you watched my 12 Days of Stitchmas, you will see that I lost my marbles on day 6. I lost my marbles because the stitching present, had ran away with this gift in this mouse's package, and they ran away and had a wonderful time. So they've all been caught up and put back in their packages now. So, that is life. This is the Monoline Stars embossing folder. It coordinates with the Glimmer Monoline plate, if you by any chance have that. This sentiment set here is actually a little gem hidden in the rough, because if you like puns and cutesy sentiments, you'll like it. You'll get a kick out of it because it's got cute little sayings on it with puns in it. So this first card that we're going to make is called what I call a split front card. I'm going to cut off everything but 1.5 inches off of the front top of the card base. Then I'm going to cut a piece of 1.5 inch, the 1.5 inch piece off the bottom of the card front, and we're going to discard that piece in the middle. So I've cut these pieces here out of glitter card, which are going to cover the complete 1.5 inch by 4 1/4. And then the velvet rose piece on top I've embossed with the embossing folder. And we're using the regular side of the embossing folder here. And then on the front portion here that I've die cut out of the Essential 4 Petals label, I've used the deboss side of the embossing folder. So we're using both sides of the embossing folder here in this card. And we're just going to glue this segment here to the top. And then we're going to use the other 1.5 inch segment at the bottom. And we're going to connect them with the die cut center. And this allows your card front to have a decorative front and all be a full card front again, with just a little notched edge on the sides where the missing card front is. So you can do this with any die cut shape that you have. And I've done it before with a star. I had a card with Heartfelt Creations that I used a star shape. It was a little more difficult because the point of the star, but I really liked this one because of those solid tops and bottoms there. It really made for a sturdy card. So I really liked this 4 petal labels for that reason. But you could use any shape die cut here to do this technique. This one doesn't show the split as much, but I needed the space to build my scene. And you'll see why here as we build it, because I did it a little unconventional. You guys know me, I always have to show something different, or I try to at least in my videos. One of them at least, I try to show a different take. So here's the way the present is supposed to be used. And that is where the bow would go on top. And the mouse, of course, is supposed to be dancing. Well, Miss Melanie is going to do one card where they're not dancing. So we're going to sit the mouse on top of the gift. And we're going to hide that little hole with his sweater. And he's going to be getting into little mischief because you know the presents have already gotten into mischief, and it was probably because of Mr. Mouse. So we're going to have him with the bow in his hand because he's going to be trying to get into the present. So that's what our scene is going to be here on our card. That piece right there, I'm just showing you that I tucked that little bit of the little bit of ribbon underneath there because I wanted to set that lid down on top. A lot of people will pop that lid piece up, and I've noticed sometimes people don't even use that lid piece. So, you know, this is very versatile in how you use it. There's no right or wrong way. You know, you be you and use it how you feel it's the best for your project. I wanted to make sure my mouse's ears fit into the die cut at the top. So I proportioned this to make sure his ear fit right there into the top. Yep, right there. Into the top of my die cut. That was my goal, is to fit it in the frame. Now that back foot, I would normally put a little piece of foam dot under there, but because it's going to be covered up, I just glued it straight down. It's not going to need anything, but I am going to put some there under his ears and head. So, of course, I'm looking for my foam dots, and they're right there next to me. But, you know, usually on my desk, they're hidden. But that's just the nature of the beast in Melanie's craft room. So I'm going to do 3 of the large foam dot or foam squares from Spellbinders, and I'm going to I tried to use one little one under the hand, and it was too thick because I have some double cardstock there where I put his hand in between 2 layers of his sweater, so it's a little thicker there, so it did not need any foam there. So we're going to put that down there, and then we're going to go ahead and attach this bow right behind his hand, and I also wanted it to go behind his face. So I'm going to put extra glue there because it's got to attach to that glitter, and I'm just going to hold it there. And I made sure the bow went behind his face so we didn't cover up his little cute little nose. And then we'll go ahead and put it on to where his bottom is covered up, but we got to first put his little tail on. So see, Spellbinders gives you that little glue spot, the little circle. That's almost always an indication that they mean for glue to go there when you see that size circle on one of their dies. So I attached his little tail, and we'll go ahead and put him in, and I'm looking at his ear now for placement, both his ear and his bottom, because I want to make sure that circle in his bottom is covered, but I also want his ear to fit in there. And there we go. So I chose this pun. You're on my mice list, and I inked it with that black ink there, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to put it on the bottom. I really felt like that distracted from my scene. So my thought process was maybe I will put it on the inside of the card. And that's what I went ahead and decided. It didn't show from the front. If the die had been smaller on the front in the center section, it may have shown. But because it didn't, because the 4-petal label was big enough, it hit it perfectly. So I'm just straightening it up there. And we're going to go ahead and have that as our little cutesy on the inside. Now there I'm just showing those essential those essential dies again, being my perfect use of, those are the mini slimline essentials, or precision. That's the word you want to look for on the website. Precision layering die sets. Those precision layering die sets are the ones that work great for that really 1/16 of an inch layering for both your die layers and your sentiment layers, like I'm using them here. So now this second card, I'm using the pattern paper that I'm using throughout all 3 cards. I'm using the embossing folder as a strip, and then I'm showing you there that I'm pulling the paper throughout. I'm using that polka dot paper throughout. I'm also using a few other pattern papers, little bits here and there throughout, just to coordinate all three of my cards. But that oval there that I'm using is the Essential Stylish oval. And that one is what we're going to put our gingerbread on. And for this, I am just using the little girl gingerbread in this sample. The little boy is being left out, but that is only because I wanted a pink and green theme, and I didn't think the little boy gingerbread fit into my vision. So that is also the reason why the penguin didn't make it into my vision of cards this time. You'll probably see that penguin pop up later though. So right now I am toasting up our gingerbread with just a little bit of crumb cake ink. This is crumb cake paper and crumb cake ink from my Stampin' Up stash. I figured crumb cake was probably the ideal color to go with gingerbread. So I darkened the face on the top portion a little extra because of the icing that's going to be on the top of her head. So I went a little deeper on the forehead. I also did get an ink splotch there on her forehead, but luckily where I got it, it was on my hand, but where I got it is going to be covered up by the icing. So perfect. So the paper I'm using for the icing was gifted to me by my friend Joni. She is a friend of mine on the internet, and I met her quite a while back, and she sent me the most lovely little sampler pack from a company called The Paper Cut. And she loves their paper, and I love the way this glossy paper worked for this little gingerbread's icing. So we also use it on the figgy pudding, and we're going to use it here to do all of her icing all over her dress and her feet and legs. So it die cut like a dream. Joni, thank you so much for that package of goodness. It is beautiful paper. This is the first chance I'm getting a chance to use it. And it's totally new to me. And I just thought, it die cut, she told me she loves quality paper, and she's right. It die cut beautifully. And here I am just going to put on these little baby pieces of icing. And then she just turns out perfect after these little pieces are. And something else I wanted to mention about these gingerbread dies is they put the most adorable little piercings into the hands and the feet and the face, the cheeks area and stuff in the face. And it looks like gingerbread. You know how you get the little dimplings in your gingerbread? And it looks so real. And then when you ink it up too, you see the little spots? Those are not like, I didn't put those dots there. The dies put those dots there. And they're positioned so perfectly that the icing and all just go right around them. So the icings just fit right between them, so the dots don't get covered up. The designing for these is just amazing. They surprise me more and more every single time I work with these products. It's just pure genius. It blows me away. So I'm just having so much fun, and thank goodness for my Gina K tool. This tool is just amazing with both the wax end and the pokey end. It saves me. Now, if I just had my reverse tweezers, which unfortunately have disappeared, I have ordered a second pair of them in my next order that's coming from Spellbinders. I got a second pair. I think I lost them on my vacation because they were with my Gina K tool, and somehow I may have left them in the hotel. So that's the last time I had them, was in the hotel, on my vacation when I was working on the 12 Days of Stitchmas, so I may have left them in the hotel. So I went ahead and ordered another pair because I cannot live without my reverse tweezers, as those of you with nails know. So I am fiddling with these. Yeah, see all the glue on my fingers? I'm like, So if you've wondered in the last few videos, yeah, I'm fiddling with it because I'm fighting it left and right. But we still make do. It's okay. So now we're going to work on the actual mechanism. And of course, I forgot to die cut one. So we're going to go ahead and die cut it real quick. Luckily, it's just this one piece. And I'm going to use the scrap that we cut out of the center of our card front. So nothing goes to waste, right? So I'm just going to run it through my little mini here. And voila, we have a mechanism. So there we go. So we're just going to glue this to the back of the swinging portion. And then that big hole is where we will put, or we will hang our mechanism from the glue dot or the foam adhesive that we hang it from. So I like to double up my foam that we hang from so it has more height on it. So I'm just going to use the mini. I'm not sure what I'm looking for there. But I am going to use the mini foam squares. Oh, I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for her bow. It's in her, yeah, it's in that box. She has a little hair bow. So, but I'm going to use the small mini foam squares there on my left. And I'm going to double those up. Isn't that cute? And then we're going to here we go. I'm sorry. I'm distracted. My phone keeps buzzing. But you want to put the foam square to the top of the circle. So make sure you hang that down for proper placement because it's going to, gravity is going to pull it down. So make sure when you're fitting it into your area, like in this place, my oval, make sure you have it at the top of the circle so it doesn't end up being wonky or too long or something when you're done. And then the only thing you're going to have adhesive on is the top portion here, so her head. Everything else, the swinging portion, has no glue whatsoever. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm doubling all the adhesive on her foam on her head as well because you want it the same height. You see that? The same height as the piece that the mechanism is hanging from. So now we will just add a tiny bit of glue there, and that is just for extra support. We'll go ahead and place that on there, and now she swings. Just checking it out, make sure it works. It's getting a little stuck there on the right, probably because my foam square wasn't exactly straight, but it's also not round. It would work even better if the foam was round, but it worked just fine. It took just a second, I think, because it was sticky on the outside. But I'm going to use one of these floral friendship gemstones right in the center of her bow. There actually is a little tiny round die cut for that, but I thought she needed just a little bit of bling, and these colors were perfect. So these floral friendship gemstones are gorgeous. If they are still available, I will link them below. If you haven't gotten any of them, they were part of a paper collection back in the spring, but they are gorgeous. Now for my third card, it's the Figgy Pudding, and I have already completed her. To my favorite pudding is the sentiment, and I did add some of those gems to her as well. Her legs do move too. And there is my trio. I've used, like I said, the embossing folder on all three. And I hope you've enjoyed. Bye-bye, guys.